Hello, welcome everyone to the UCLA Alumni Mentor Program kickoff for our undergraduate students and their mentors. Today's webinar will dive into the expectations of the program, things both mentors and mentees can keep in mind as you begin your mentorship, and resources available to you. The Alumni Mentor Program is made possible by the support of our sustaining donors. So we want to thank those of you who share not only your time, but your treasure as well to make this program possible for the 16th year. Your UCLA Alumni Association is committed to strengthening the Bruin community through programs like this. My name is Gloria Coe, a double Bruin, receiving my bachelor's in communications in 2006 and master's in education 2007, and I serve as the senior director for alumni career engagement within our UCLA Alumni Affairs. I'm so excited to be here to join you for this event and to also kick off our mentor program. For some housekeeping for our webinar today, please use the Q&A function below to ask questions you may have during the event. We will address your questions at the end of the program during our Q&A section. However, I also want to welcome our new mentors. If this year is your first year, we're so thankful that you've chosen to join us during this virtual mentorship year. I also know some of you are maybe long-time or return mentors, so we want to honor you as well and being here today in this kickoff that is very different than ones that we've had in the past. If you'd like, feel free to throw in the chat the number of years you've been a mentor, and we want to celebrate you and the time that you've given to the program. And so I'm excited to also introduce our student leaders that are Kyle and Kaylin that are part of this program.
Thank you, Gloria. Hi, everyone. My name is Kyle Bowie, and I am a third-year chemistry major, and I'm also the student director for the Alumni Mentor Program from the Alumni Scholars Club. And I, along with Kaylin today, will be talking with you about some tips and tricks a little bit later on how to really succeed in this program. And I just wanted to say how excited we are that this program is officially beginning today. And one of our goals is for you all to have really meaningful relationships with each other and to maintain constant engagement. And so my committee is really committed to putting on programming to make sure that that happens and to really making the most out of this virtual space and taking advantage of all the opportunities and resources that we have. Kaylin and I serve as a student resource, so you can ask us any questions or concerns that you have. And I will be showing or presenting an email a little bit later on that you can send us those questions or concerns. And we're just really excited. So I'll turn it to Kaylin. I'll turn it to Kaylin.
Hi, I am Kaylin. I'm a coordinator for the Alumni Mentor Program this year. I'm a third-year transfer student from Pasadena City College, so I'm new to the university. I'm a communications major in film and digital humanities minors. And I'm also participating in AMP this year. I have my own mentor. So I'm really excited to be able to experience what it's like being in the program while helping out behind the scenes. And I'll be presenting with Kyle a little bit later. But for now, Gloria will just start her presentation.
Thank you, Kyle and Kaylin. So I will be starting the presentation on some of the things for our mentors to keep in mind. But for some of you that are new to the program, we welcome you and want to share with you just some general guidelines for what you are committing to this year. You're committing to starting now until June to stay the mentor of your student, and that you are committing to monthly communication at minimum, that you are going to be in consistent and open dialogue with your student. We encourage you to set up the cadence of your communication that you both desire. Some people may say that they want to meet every 2 weeks, or even just like having some consistent communication over text. We really want to leave it to you to really create the experience that you are both comfortable with. But we ask that you at least connect at least once a month during this time. And what you can expect from our team is that we will have monthly communications to you as well through an e-newsletter. We'll have some suggestions of things that you can do together, also some resources, and also share experiences from mentors and mentees. And also we have a pre and post survey that we hope you will fill out so that we can capture your experience. We do utilize the information that you give us and the suggestions for changes to the program. So we welcome your thoughts and your feedback. And also you can expect staff and student assistance over email. Kyle and Kaylin will share how you can reach out to them and their committee later on, and also we will share the email that you can reach out to us, but it's alumni mentor at alumni.ucla.edu. For our mentors, if you have any questions, we can connect with you to help you problem solve or troubleshoot any of the things that you may be going through. So also for both our mentors and students, by being part of the Alumni Mentor Program, you're agreeing to hold yourself to true Bruin values. And if you're not familiar with what those are respect, accountability, integrity, service, and excellence. And for all these different things, we hope that both our alumni and students would respect each other, the time that you're committing to one another, that you would hold each other accountable by checking in with one another, and also giving feedback if necessary. Also that you would act with integrity, meeting when you say you will, or if you need to cancel, being honest about that. Also, ultimately, this is a service opportunity for both mentors and students. Many of our mentors share that they learn so much by engaging with their students and learning about their experiences. And so really, students see this as an opportunity as well, that you are in service to your mentor. And then also excellence. We all know Bruins are number one. We are officially number one in number one public university, but also Bruins are the best. And so we also want to hold each other to that excellence when we're dealing with one another. Students, if a mentor wants to introduce you to someone in their network, that you would bring your best, that you would be your most professional, you put your best foot forward, and vice versa. So if there are any issues that maybe someone is crossing the boundaries or making someone feel uncomfortable, we will, again, we want to hold each other to these values so that we are treating each other with respect. If you find that maybe your mentor or your student is not abiding by these values, please reach out to us again. We want to help you be able to navigate the situation. But also if we need to, separate you or end the mentorship, that's also something that we can do. And also you will be removed from the program if you're found to not be abiding by these true Bruin values. So we just wanted to say this up front. Again, we're not going to have you sign a document or anything like that. But what you are saying that if you're part of this program, that you want to hold yourself to these values. Exactly. We have someone that said, be respectful, don't ruin it for your mentees. Exactly. And so thank you for that. And so, we definitely want to hold each other accountable, us collectively, so that we can also move forward and really give our mentors and students a great experience. So for our mentors, we asked our students, what are the top things students hope to gain during this mentorship? And they say these in all of their different answers, it really boiled down to these 5 different areas: guidance, wisdom, advice, knowledge, and preparation. Our students are looking to gain advice and insights that they can't gain in the classroom. We know we have top-notch faculty, a great curriculum, great majors, but there's a lot of little details that our alumni know from their experience in industry that our students want to learn. And so your guidance and wisdom as they navigate their UCLA experience can be really helpful, and something that is unwritten, that is not found in our textbooks. And also the advice that you give, that's truly important and something to think about. When our mentors give advice, our mentees are listening. And so really think about, when you are suggesting something, how that can really be heard and then also be acted on. And knowledge and preparation, that comes with a lot of the practical application and insights that our mentors have. And so these are the top things that students hope to gain. So then for our mentors, some things to keep in mind. Be clear and responsive in your communication. No one likes to be ghosted when they're trying to reach out. No one likes to not be talking to an empty chamber. So, be clear and responsive. If you're going through a difficult period, maybe you have some work projects or you have some family stuff going on, we want you to be clear and say, hey, I see your email. Let's set up a time for a couple weeks. I'm going through a lot right now, but I'm committed to this and I want you to know that I see your emails. That's a great thing to say, even if you're going through a lot and may not be able to meet with your student right away. Also create honest and compassionate dialogue, especially with the experiences that our mentors bring. You may have had a lot of experience with difficult conversations, but maybe our students don't have that experience yet. So be able to create this honest and compassionate dialogue and communication line with your student so that they can, a lot of our students are going to come to you with certain questions that they may have. And while it seems like, oh, this is a very easy question to you, it may not be an easy question for your student to ask. And so definitely create, you can be honest, but also being compassionate and understanding where your student is coming from. Remember that UCLA is ever changing, especially this year is a year unlike any year that other past UCLA students have experienced. Not just the demographics of UCLA are different, but potentially some of the clubs and experiences and resources available could be different. So just remember that as you are sharing your wisdom and sharing your suggestions, checking in with the student too of, oh, is this still at UCLA? Is this still the experience that you get? And especially to our freshmen, they are experiencing UCLA from a remote learning situation. And so they may not have gone to campus yet. And so being mindful of that as you are sharing your experience. And also don't forget that context matters. Again, our mentors are coming with a variety of experiences and insights, but also sometimes when you share that and the students don't have a context of where you're asked, in terms of constructive feedback, maybe they don't know where you're coming from or how to implement that constructive feedback, giving them context to be able to receive that feedback will help them be able to act on it. So really being mindful of the context in which you're giving this advice and wisdom, and also how it's being delivered as well. And so we wanted to share some tools with you for your mentorship, especially during this year of a virtual mentorship. There's a variety of different tools that you can use for your video meetings. There's Zoom, Skype, Google Hangouts, and FaceTime. Kyle will actually be sharing a little bit about Zoom in just a little bit. And so these are tools that you could use so that you can meet regularly with your student. And also for many of you, you may have a mentorship that is across the globe or on the other side of the country. So you want to make sure that you're thinking about time zones when you're setting times to meet. And so these are also tools and websites that you can use. When is Good Doodle and Calendly are great to do check availability and find times that could work between the two of you, even if you are on the same time zone, making sure that you're available. And then also timeanddate.com and worldtimebuddy.com. These are great tools for if you're in different time zones, especially those that may be in China or Europe, and that you're connecting across the globe. Be sure to keep timing and time zones in mind. And also, especially for our mentors, maybe you want to share notes and goals and documentation, maybe sample documents or sample journal entries, things like that. Using a Google Drive, Dropbox, or Simple Note could be great to consolidate your notes and all your materials. And also an idea is, you want to make sure too that your student is being reflective through the year. So you can keep a blog through wordpress.com or something simpler in terms of a shared Google Doc to just track how your progress is. How do they feel after a project or assignment? How do they feel after an informational interview? If this is an easier way than just maybe a constant stream of emails, these again are ideas that you could use during your mentorship. And also other mentor resources that we'll be providing. We will have a UCLA One, a mentor resource group on UCLA One, since many of you, all of you utilize the platform to get your mentees. We will have a resource group there that will add all our mentors to, and that you can utilize this to share resources that you find or even lean on the community if maybe you have a question that your student gave you that you want to workshop or think through with some other mentors. And also we'll have quarterly mentor resource webinars sharing with you tools and resources from campus so that you are familiar with resources that are available to your students that you can suggest. And also this is the QR code for a mentor resources list. We're starting, again, this is just an opportunity for all of us to grow. We included books, podcasts, videos, and even articles. And this is editable so that you can add the different resources that you have found helpful during your time as a mentor as well. So this is an editable Google form that you can either refer to if you're looking for resources, or you can add to if you have your arsenal and toolkit of different things that you have found helpful. And so now I want to share just a little bit about something we call the mentor agreement. This is a tool and guide for your first conversation. And for some of you, you may already have had your first conversation, but this is just, again, topics that you should think about as you are setting up and really setting your mentorship for success. And so this is the mentor agreement that we actually sent in the welcome email that we sent to you. We sent this agreement so that you can actually utilize it during your conversations. But again, this is not something you have to turn into us as staff, but really, again, we want you to utilize the structure to at least have discussed these different topics. So, things like meeting frequency, duration of your meetings, the form of communication that is preferable to you both. That is actually, incredibly important, because then it sets up the expectations for our mentors. If, getting a text after 8 p.m. is not going to be helpful, that's very helpful for your students to know, because knowing them, they're texting their friends and their communities after 8 p.m., right? And so you want to be very clear about, what is like a good time and maybe what's not a good time, or if anything, a response, expected response time. So is it something like 24 hours after, or even just like within the week, something like that. Again, you can decide on the cadence and the expectations for one another, but we want you to at least talk about it. And also goals and objectives for this mentorship. Some people may read this and think, oh, this is just what the students' goals and mentor objectives are for the mentorship, but truly this is also what is the mentor's goal, right? And is it something that they want to be able to connect people to their network? They want to be able to help them navigate an internship process, or is it just they want to be able to help them get straight A's? That could be something too. Again, this is dependent on your collective goals and objectives for the mentorship. And then also the third section is great because we want you to be creative. Again, we're in a virtual mentorship setting. So, things that maybe are usually done in person, what can you do online? And so what are some opportunities and experiences to enhance your learning? Is it inviting the student to a meeting that you're having in the room, an online meeting that you're having with your colleagues? Is it inviting your student to check out how do you manage your calendar at work, or how do you do research, things like that. These are all things that can be done online, but also mock interviews, resume critiques, even a quick job shadow, those could all be accomplished online as well. And so again, we ask that you have these conversations. You don't have to turn this form into us, but going through it together helps you both really set the foundation for the mentorship that you have ahead. And so now I'm actually going to turn it over to Kyle and Kaylin to talk about expectations and things for students to keep in mind.
Thanks, Gloria. Okay, so earlier, Gloria presented concepts that were really important to mentees and what they desired from mentors. And similarly, we surveyed alumni and asked what they were willing to offer. And ultimately, when you look at these 5 words, you'll see that mentees and mentors, what mentees want and mentors are willing to give are very similar. And so those 5 things would be knowledge, experience, support, empathy, and perspective. And because they are so similar, we think that you both have a ton of potential to really make the most out of your relationship. And sometimes you forget that your mentors really want to help you, and they have this wide breadth of knowledge to offer you from their expertise and so much experience. And because we now know that mentors would like to offer something similar that us mentees would like, I think it just really helps when we enter into this relationship so that we can really succeed and see that our mentors have similar goals as us. And we just really can make the most of our time within this program. And so in this next slide, Kaylin will actually go over what a mentorship is not and preconception or misconceptions that we have about the Alumni Mentor Program.
Yeah, so some things we just wanted to make clear. Mentorship is not one-sided. What you get in is what you're going to get out of it. So it's a two-way street, like any relationship with anyone. So just show that you care, and your mentor will, I'm sure they'll be happy to reciprocate and help you in any way that they can. It's also not one size fits all. So this is a great way to get to know different people of varying backgrounds, skill sets, networks. So treat every opportunity like the unique advantage it is, and just make the most out of the time that you have with your mentor this year. They're not there to parent you, they're not there for psychotherapy. You're connecting with industry professionals and grad students. So value the time that they're putting in, because at the end of the day, this is a commitment on your end and theirs. So just make sure you keep everything professional. And then finally, um, don't treat this as a way to just get a job or internship. Like I said, the mentors are here to help you develop yourself personally, professionally. They're devoting time to help you learn and grow throughout the rest of this year. They're not just a meal ticket for future opportunities. So remember that and just value what they're able to offer you. It's great if you manage to get, an opportunity at the end of the mentorship if you feel like your relationship went really well, but don't make that your main focus.
Awesome. And now we'll be going over a couple of tips and some guidance that Gloria and I and Kayla and I came up with that we really think are important for students and mentees to succeed in this program and to really come out feeling fulfilled. And so number one would be to be intentional. We really think it's important to take initiative and look within yourself to deeply understand why you joined the Alumni Mentorship Program and how you think your alumni mentor can support you. Lacking intention is really both a disservice to you and to your mentor, because you'll come out of this program feeling unfulfilled if you do not establish ways in which you would like to grow and develop. And your mentor really is really willing and eager to help you, and they will be unable to do so if you're not really intentional about what you would like out of this program. And so our number one tip would be to know specifically what you want out of this program, and explicitly, but also in a respectful manner, let your mentor know what you want. And number two would be to make check-ins regular. We really recommend meeting with your mentor on a monthly basis and establishing a regular meeting schedule. For example, you can meet every month on the first Tuesday, or you can meet on the 10th of every month. And it really makes sure that you regularly check in with each other. By making these check-ins regular, the communication between both the mentor and mentee will be constant. And what I really like about having an established meeting time is that you can prepare topics beforehand that you would both like to bring up and discuss with each other. And so it makes your meeting time both concise, focused, and productive. What also is really important is to send reminders and updates to update your mentor before or after those regularly established times. Your mentor really wants to know how you're doing. And so sending them just mini emails of, oh, I just did really well on my midterm, or I have an internship coming up that you really helped me prepare for, is something that mentors really like to hear about. And it just shows that you're more human and you can make that connection with them. And Kaylin has some advice to make these check-ins regular as well.
Yeah, one thing I just wanted to say is that it's okay if you're awkward with your mentor. Um, I'm sure my mentor knows. Danielle, if you're here, shout out to you, and I apologize. My biggest joke is that I'm one of the most antisocial or socially awkward communications majors ever. But there's no pressure. This entire thing is just, it's really just practice for future jobs and opportunities and everything. So treat this opportunity as a way for you to kind of push yourself beyond what you're comfortable with, um, and just keep going at it. These regular check-ins can be just, conversational, really relaxed. But if you need a kind of structure, you can always do activities to help you move along your process or your growth. And some examples you could do are you could ask your mentor to have an informational presentation about the career or profession that you're interested in, just to kind of get some expert advice on what you should anticipate for the future. You can do resume, cover letter workshops, mock interviews, networking events. Your mentor can kind of introduce you to other people that they know in the field. If you are with a grad student, you guys can do study sessions together. If you're with an industry professional, you can do job shadowing. So there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can make the most out of these little check-ins that you have with your mentor.
Awesome. And our third tip would be to communicate and be honest. Oftentimes, students enter into the mentorship program and really hope that your alumni mentor will know exactly what you want and will be able to naturally guide you to success. However, what's really important about being a successful mentee is to be clear about what you would like out of the relationship and establish small, attainable goals with your mentor so that you can reach your long-term goals. And this mentorship relationship is just like any other relationship in that it's important to maintain healthy communication with your mentor, as well as being transparent with them about your goals so that they can know how best to support you. And so an example of really being able to be communicative and be honest is sending a follow-up once your mentor confirms the relationship with you and expressing your gratitude and saying thank you. Just small things of you expressing your gratitude for how helpful they are is really important in making sure that your relationship is healthy and will be successful in the future. Number 4 would be to be open to feedback and a different perspective. Remember that alumni mentors are extremely experienced and experts in their field who have lots of wisdom and advice to offer. They may not always have the same perspective as you, and that does not mean that their opinions are incorrect. Often their wisdom will lead you to success. So we really recommend to be open and receptive to feedback. Receiving constructive criticism is an important skill, and it's really important to develop when entering the professional field. So we think that it is important for you to start now. And number 5, and lastly, would be to not give up right away. Healthy relationships are not easy and they take lots of time and effort. And you also must remember that the relationship is not strictly what your alumni mentor can do for you. Alumni are also very busy. So if your alumni does not respond immediately, don't give up right away and don't immediately stop putting effort into the mentorship relationship. Offer follow-up emails and give your alumni a reminder if your regularly scheduled meeting is coming up. And just remember that your alumni has so much to offer, and if you persist and put effort into the program, you will reap the benefits. And so here's just a quick little tutorial that I put together for students for you to set up a regularly scheduled Zoom meeting. And so if you look here, when you log into your UCLA account on Zoom, you'll be able to pull this up through the app. And when you click this plus sign that we're circling right now, it will lead you to a pop-up screen will appear, yeah. And so you'll be able to see schedule meeting, schedule from Outlook or schedule from Google Calendar. You click schedule meeting and this will pop up on the right, in which you can set the topic. Right here it says Kyle Bowie's Zoom meeting, but you can change the topic to mentorship mentee meeting. You can click the date, and if you click recurring meeting, you can set it for either weekly or monthly, however you'd like. And then there are also some other details on the bottom, like a password or a waiting room that you could establish as well if you'd like. And also, so that you know how to invite your mentor, when you click this hide meeting invitation, it will make this invitation go away, but then you click it again and it reappears, and you can copy the Zoom link where it says join Zoom meeting to your mentor, and they can easily join the meeting that you just established, and you can meet however you set up the settings, and it's that easy. Sometimes it's confusing at first, but hopefully that clarifies how to make that a Zoom meeting for your mentor and you can meet regularly. And like I said earlier, if you have questions, alumni, please reach out to the Alumni Mentor Program team at alumnimentor@alumni.ucla.edu. And for students, you can reach out to me and my Alumni Mentor Program Student Committee at alumnimentors@alumnischolarsclub.org. And now we'll be entering into our Q&A section. Gloria, Kaylin, and I will answer any questions you have.
Fantastic. So if you do have any questions, feel free to use the Q&A function below, and we'll address any of your questions here. So some of you asked, will you be able to connect with your mentee here on this webinar? And the answer is no, but we also want you to reach out to one another. If you don't have each other's emails yet, go to UCLA One to at least send that initial message and exchange contact information. What you can do then is you can either decide, do you want to start with a phone call, or can your students set up a Zoom meeting that you can meet? And because students actually have a larger license, it's an unlimited time. So instead, for some of you maybe who are using a free Zoom platform, that might have like a limit to 45 minutes. But if the student starts the meeting, they should have an unlimited amount of time. So we ask that you, if you have not already done so, connected with your mentee, that you would do so right after, either on UCLA One to exchange that information, or that you would at least set a time. Doesn't have to be right after this webinar, but at least set a time in the near future to connect. And also for our students, for our students and alumni, we're getting into the holiday season. So definitely be sure to set up a time sooner rather than later, so that you can, avoid any, scheduling issues when it comes to the holidays. Will this presentation be posted? Someone asked. We actually will send a follow-up email to all of those that have attended today with the presentation and the agreement, so that you have that at the ready when you meet with your students. So someone did ask if you'll be offering the notes and everything. Yes, we will send it to those that have attended today. So if you're a mentor and your mentee didn't come, but you want to send it to them or connect with them over it, you can send it to them. But also we did, as a welcome email to our students, we also sent them a copy of the mentor agreement. So those that have been officially welcomed into the program, they should have that as well for students and alumni. And so let's see, this is a logistical one. How long is the mentorship for? You are committing to being paired until June. If, at the end of June, you are then officially, you can either continue on with your mentorship, or you can say, that was a great year together, but we're going to separate. Students and mentors are welcome to get new mentees and mentors the year after. But also, if you want to continue working with each other, that's totally great as well. But you're committing to the end of to June and to the end of the academic year. Someone asked, this is for Kyle and Kaylin, what are some examples of small tangible goals mentees and mentors typically set? I don't know if you both have had maybe, or you're in now a mentorship, Kaylin, but Kyle, you had a mentor. What were some examples of small tangible goals that you set together?
Yeah, definitely. So one small tangible goal, and we also send in our newsletters, we send check-ins, which will start next month, is, for example, we have goals for you to schedule an informational interview with your mentor. And that's just a small task where you can accomplish a goal of becoming better at becoming better at interviews in general, and also better understanding the field of interest that you are interested in. And so working with your mentor on just small things like an informational interview or a resume review is really helpful. And I think it's a relatively easy task to accomplish that isn't really difficult for your mentor to help you out with. And so that's one example that we really like to encourage students to do. Kaylin, do you have any ideas?
Yeah, I've done all those things too. My mentor so far has reviewed my resume. I'm going to send my cover letter to her soon so she can review that as well. Another thing is just asking your mentor to help you kind of get more acquainted with the profession that you want to be in. So for me, a way to do that was that my mentor actually compiled an entire list of websites and resources that I should look into for internships and just to become more knowledgeable about the job that I want. So little informational things like that as well. I did give some examples earlier about a whole bunch of career-based goals or career-based activities to help people with their professional goals. But a lot of people want to also gain more help in like leadership experience. So that's also a goal that some people might have, or just learning how to balance like work and personal life, that kind of thing. So it's not limited to just working career opportunities and stuff like that. It can definitely be personal or career based. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, that does. Great. And so this is also a question for Kyle and Kaylin. Will the Alumni Scholars Club be hosting events in the future for mentors and mentees?
Yes, definitely. So this quarter, we've been brainstorming a lot on ways to engage mentors and mentees together and create some programming. And so you should be looking out for us sending out emails on what we are planning for in the winter quarter and spring quarter as well. We're really excited to try to bring you all together and really make the most of this virtual space. So I just say, look out for emails. We are definitely planning and programming for mentors and mentees to interact with each other. I also saw another question though. It asks, are we required to schedule a meeting through Zoom like what you just said, or can we schedule meetings in other ways? And you can definitely schedule meetings in other ways. You're not limited to Zoom. It was just an example because we all have access to Zoom as UCLA students, and it might be easier, but if your mentor has a different preference to meet on Google Hangouts or something like that, then that's perfectly fine.
Great. We have a question from Henrik. He asked, just out of curiosity, what's the scale of the program? How many student mentor pairings do we have as part of this program? We actually have about 1,200 mentor-mentee pairings this year. So thank you to all of our mentors for offering their time to serve our students, and also for our students to participate. So yeah, we actually have a great large number of pairings, and hope to be able to support all of you through this year. Let's see. I have a mentor that I think asked, if I have more than 2 students, do you recommend meeting together or separately? I'll share from just the staff perspective, and then if Kyle and Kaylin, you want to share if you've done any group meetings. I would say doing the meetings together is only if it would be helpful. Like I would say doing at least an intake meeting or initial meeting separately, just to see where their goals lie. You may find that maybe one person is more loquacious, another one's more quiet. And if that's the case and you have meetings together, you're going to have one student that maybe will dominate your meetings together. So doing a separate meeting, at least in the beginning, just to gauge who they are, where they are, their interests, what their goals are, I think is important, just to at least set the tone with your relationship with them individually. But if you find that there's a lot of overlap, I think in their goals, potentially meeting together would be helpful, because then they also then have a community within the two of them to work toward their goals together. But I feel like if then your time with them is then, separated because they're asking very different things, that may actually be harder for a mentor to balance, because then you have to balance, like, is someone getting ignored or someone else is kind of taking over the time a lot, and then you then become a facilitator, not so much a mentor. But that's just my perspective. Kyle and Kaylin, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, when I have a mentor, I've actually never been in a group setting, but I would agree with Gloria, like in the beginning, maybe meeting with all together. But I think personally, I would probably like having like a one-on-one time with the mentor and being able to talk to you separately. I think a lot of people would probably be able to relate, but the first meeting as a group, I think is totally fine. But after that, I would meet separately, unless you think it's helpful to spread some sort of knowledge or advice to everyone. But I would like meeting one-on-one.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything that was just said. I think one-on-one is definitely more beneficial because you're able to give kind of specialized attention and advice to a specific student, because like we mentioned earlier, it's not one size fits all. Everyone has different needs. So one-on-one would probably be best.
Great.
I see.
Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry, Gloria.
No, go ahead, Kyle.
I see a question that says, will future events take different time zones into account? And yes, we will definitely take different time zones into account. We're really sensitive about that. And we'll try to, if we can't have you attend live, we'll try to record so that you can participate in the event in some sense virtually and remotely. And we are really sensitive about that and are trying to make it as inclusive as possible. And so, yes, we will take future time zones into account. Yes, concisely.
I actually see there's a couple of questions from students saying that they haven't necessarily heard back from their alumni mentor. Kyle and Kaylin, do you have any suggestions for them if maybe they've sent out a couple emails and they haven't heard back?
Yes, so what I recommend, if you've sent a couple of emails and haven't heard back, I would still wait a little bit longer and wait a couple of days and send one last email. And if they do not email you back, there is a way of potentially ending the relationship. And I kind of want to know your feedback on that too, Gloria, on at what point we should tell them to end the relationship.
Sure. And so the ending of the relationship also is something that we want to say, like, that's if, you haven't heard back from them, maybe like in a month. I see someone's comment, they had an initial meeting, but she hasn't responded to my last 2 emails. And so I also want you to be mindful. It's not just about, oh, you sent 2 emails, but how long did those 2 emails happen, right? If it was like you met with them and then you sent an email like the day after and the day after, that's only about 3 days, right? But if maybe you've sent the email, you met, and then it's been 3 weeks, again, we want you to, there is a reason why we said don't give up, right? Because if you've met initially, that means the mentor is interested in being in the mentorship, but maybe they're going through some stuff. So in this process, having some grace as well, with each other in terms of the response period. I know sometimes too, especially in college, it's like, oh, usually you get something really fast, from your friends or your things like that. But sometimes when, you're in the professional world, a response over email, maybe, at the end of the week or something like that. So do give a longer, I think, grace period. But, if maybe you haven't heard from your mentor in 2 months, it is something that you can say, oh, it seems maybe that you're not interested. So I'm, thank you for your time. I want to, be respectful of that. Maybe this isn't a good time for you right now, and then you can move on. But, don't necessarily give up right away if you just haven't heard from them in 2 weeks.
Definitely. And someone also said, try a different format. So if you potentially have your mentor's phone number, I think it's definitely a great idea to possibly text or call, but make sure to be respectful and to really express that you're just trying to check in and see if everything's okay. And like Gloria said, to not give up right away. I think it can really great things can come out of this program. You just have to be patient with it sometimes and kind of nurture that relationship.
Great. Let's see. I saw someone ask, should we dress business casual during our meeting? Kyle and Kaylin, what do you think?
I can answer that one. So in my personal experience, I didn't need to. My relationship with my mentor is very casual. I think that's what we're trying to encourage as well, just a very casual, free-flowing relationship with your mentor. If you feel like you want to, you can definitely do that for the first few meetings, but try to get a sense of what kind of vibe you get from your mentor, and then I think you can kind of take it from there on what's the best direction to go. But it's not meant to be professional in the least.
And then also, someone asked, to what extent are we allowed to request our mentors help us find internships and work opportunities with still being networking rather than just taking advantage unfairly of our mentors and connections? I would say that you want to see it as, how can your mentors assist you in your job search? So you're the one looking at positions, you're the one finding roles that are interesting to you, and using your mentor as a sounding board rather than the one getting you the job, I think is the right perspective to have. You know, I think sometimes people think like, oh, I work in this company, you know, maybe your mentor works at this company, that they definitely have a connection there. But sometimes it actually is multiple connections that they would have to make, in that it may take time if that is something that you're interested in. And so really seeing as they are partners in this, but they are not responsible for the job search. So they may see something that you're interested in, but that's usually after you've shared with them what you're interested in, right? So again, mentors aren't mind readers. They don't necessarily know exactly what you're looking for. But again, using them as a sounding board through your job search and that process is helpful. And I think for those of you that are graduating in June, you know, this is great time to really work with your mentor on what is the game plan for when you graduate. We know that the economy is impacted by the pandemic, but what are some action steps that you can take now so that you feel like you're not scrambling when it comes time in June? So again, your mentor is your partner in this process, but they don't lead it, you do. And so definitely something to keep in mind. Let's see. Oh, I did have someone ask us about, let's see, about COVID. We had a couple people asking about COVID. We will not be organizing events that are in person on campus. Technically, the campus is closed, but if you and your mentee are, you know, again, are abiding by the county or city guidelines that are provided, we don't want to micromanage your relationship on how you meet. Some of you may be living in countries or areas that are safe to meet, or you are allowed to meet. And so I would defer to your judgment as to what is best for you. But us as a mentor program, we will not be organizing in-person events until it is safe to do so. And especially if we're a global organization, we don't want to set any guidelines that may not be may not be relevant to you if you're in a different part of the country. But you know, we would just say we don't have guidelines that you should adhere to if you are in a part of the world or you feel like you are doing things in a socially distant and safe environment. However, I would say if you don't necessarily feel safe and someone, a student or a mentor suggests something and you're not necessarily feeling safe, just please be honest, right? We want to be mindful of how each of us are, maybe we're seeing family or we're staying with family. And so that may come into play, but you know, again, those are the conversations that you have together. And so we don't want to micromanage that, but we will not be setting up in-person events. So we won't hold you to meet in person or on campus. I did have a question from a mentor asking, do you re-enroll every year? We actually do ask that our mentors raise their hand again every year, only because we have had issues where we have had mentors from years past that don't check their UCLA One account, and students are trying to engage with them and they're not responding. And so we want to make sure the pool of mentors are fresh and new each year, and not new in the sense that they haven't participated, but that they have decided that, yes, I would like to embark on this again. We know that being a mentor is a conscious choice that you make, of giving your time and your energy. And so we do ask that you just go into UCLA One to say, yes, I want to do it again, so that students know that you are available this coming year. I do have one question for Kyle and Kaylin. This is from a student. I'm a bit nervous to contact my mentor. Do you have any tips on how to make a good first impression?
Yeah, so if this is your first time messaging your mentor, I would recommend saying thank you, one, for accepting your request to be your mentor, and be really respectful, and also be intentional. Like what we were saying earlier, set up your first meeting time, ask them what's the best method of communication. I think sometimes for me, I forget that maybe they don't want to talk on UCLA One, and it's always best to ask if they'd rather talk via you text them or email. And so really establish that communication method, and also be really respectful. And I would say to express your gratitude. I think that's always really powerful and important. And those are the key things I would say to include in your first email.
Yeah, all of those things are definitely important. In terms of like the first steps to introducing yourself to your mentor, definitely show your personality a little bit. Um, this is like a mentorship between two people, and you want to get to know each other. So just talking about like your general hobbies, likes, dislikes, that's a great way for you guys to break the ice, and get rid of that initial awkwardness. Um, and going along with what Kyle said, timing is also a really important thing. Like if you send an email, don't take 3 or 4, like don't take a while to respond, um, because even just paying attention to how often you're responding back to your mentor, that also says a lot about how much you value your time with them. Yeah, so just those little things to keep in mind.
Thank you both. We had a couple of questions. These are people who are graduating early. They're graduating at the end of the year. Congratulations, that's awesome. We do want to let you know you can continue in your mentorship even if you're not going to be an actual student after December. If you and your mentor are comfortable with continuing on in your mentorship after that, you are welcome to stay paired together. At least just let your mentor know that you are transitioning into being an alumni. And you don't have to end your mentorship in December if you would like to continue. So for those of you that are graduating early, you can continue on in the process. So you don't have to end it. And then also we got a lot of different questions about, for some of you, thank you to our mentors who are mentoring undergrads and graduates. We don't have we do have different meetings for different types of students, only in that there's going to be different resources shared. And there is no expectation that you have to attend both of these meetings. We will record all of our meetings so that if you can't attend one or the other, you still have access to the resources. But for our graduate students, we are partnering with our Graduate Student Association to really provide the resources that some of our graduate students are looking for this year. And so that's why some of the content is different, but there is no expectation that you would have to attend all the different meetings that are being provided. They are really there to be a resource to you as you need it to be. Great. And so I think we have, the rest of the questions are comments. But Kyle and Kaylin, do you have any closing statements that you want to send to the group or to our students and our mentors?
Yeah, one, I'd just like to say thank you all for attending. We really appreciate you coming, and I'm particularly really excited to be working with you all and coming up with programming to make sure that you're engaged and hopefully are really getting to know each other and really making the most out of this virtual space. And yeah, I'm just really excited. And if you have any questions or concerns, students, feel free to reach out to me and my committee. Kaylin and I will be working to answer your questions and are really here to help you.
Yeah, again, just everything that Kyle said, I completely agree with. And also, I just wanted to thank all the mentors and mentees again, especially the mentors who are taking on multiple students, and then all the mentees who are taking time out of their classes and extracurriculars to be dedicated to this program. I know it's kind of a lot, but I mean, personally, as a new transfer student, this is a really great resource to take advantage of, and hopefully it'll be a good year of mentor-mentee relationship.
And just to close out, I know that, so many of you, again, thank you for choosing to spend your time in this program. As we are all navigating the pandemic, I know there's constant change, especially for our students. You'll be studying remotely next quarter. And for our alumni, we know that you have so much going on as well. And so truly and deeply, we're so thankful for the opportunity that you are giving to our students by being a mentor. And so we thank you for that. I also know, as the staff is here to support you and also our student committee, if you do have any questions throughout the year, don't hesitate to reach out. And also, it's the year of being brave and courageous for all of us. So, as you're navigating for students, be brave and courageous when wanting to ask the hard questions and navigating awkward situations. Being in a mentorship doesn't always feel smooth because you're building a relationship. Remember that. And so truly, be brave and courageous as you move through the year. Oh, Kyle, I know we had an experience that if our students that you are interested, that you want to grow in your career, we do have any last minute registration for the interview with the Bruin. So did you want to share anything about that?
Right, yeah. So students, if you're interested in really developing your interview skills and reviewing your resume, just right before the rest of the school year, there's an opportunity to attend interview with the Bruin, which is tomorrow, Thursday, from 5 to 7. And so here's an RSVP link if you are interested. And so you can sign up, gain some tips on how to really interview well, and you also get feedback on your resume. And so you can really develop your professional skills. And maybe after interview with the Bruin, you can come back to your mentor and tell them what feedback you got from the event. And so it's a really exciting event, and we would love to have you there as well.
Great, thank you, Kyle. And so on behalf of all of us here at UCLA, again, thank you for your time, your energy, and the experience that you're going to be embarking on together. We're excited to serve you, so let us know if you have any questions, and also let us know if you have any thoughts about the kinds of resources that you're looking for. We're all moving through this program together in a virtual setting, and so we're here to support you. And so again, thank you for your time, and as always, go Bruins. Take care.